Hello my friends, are you ready to DIY craft, dare I say, my top 3 favorite craft projects so far this holiday season? And I also think they would make great handmade gifts as well. If so, you've arrived at the right video. So let's go ahead and get to crafting. For this DIY, we're going to be using a piece of wood that measures 16 inches by 16 inches square. Now, I purchased this in their shelving department at the Home Depot, but you can use anything that you prefer. You can also use plywood if you want to, but I like the smooth edges on mine, so that's why I'm using this shelving. Also, the shelving was straighter and it was more affordable, so it's just a glued-edged shelving piece. Anyway, now we're going to be moving on and we're going to be doing a little bit of a crackle finish on our wood. And first we're going to start with our dark color, and that's going to be some of this navy blue. It's called English Navy and it's by Apple Barrel Paints. I got it at Walmart. So we're going to start and we're going to just paint that real quick. Now that we have our base coat painted in the navy blue, we're going to do a crackle technique. And I want the big crackle pieces, so I actually kind of stumbled upon this technique by accident when I was trying to figure out how to add crackle paint or make ornaments look like crackle paint, because I had a question from one of our friends, Angela, and she was wondering how you get the crackle paint to crackle on the ornaments. So in trying to discover how to do that, I stumbled upon this technique. So let's go ahead and do that. And we just start by adding our school glue, or whatever glue you want to use, the just school glue, Elmer's, whatever. And I'm just using the inexpensive glue from Walmart, which is perfect because it's like 76 cents and it's like great. It's this glue here, if you guys are interested. And we're just going to smear it across our piece. Now I start out just kind of messy, getting it messy, smearing it on there, just to get it all over. And the good thing about this is you can control how your crackle looks. And I started doing this, just a hatch mark with my brush into the glue. So I did this on a smaller project and it turned out beautifully. So let's hope, fingers crossed, it turns out on the big one. So now I'm going to let this dry till it's tacky, and then we're going to come in with our next step. Okay, now we have our glue. It's just dried to the touch. It's just tacky. Actually, it's quite dry. We're going to then come in again and we're going to paint another layer of the blue paint. Now you can also use different colors of paint, which maybe I should try that, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with the blue. Now that that blue layer has dried, we are going to then do another layer of the school glue. And once our second glue coat has dried, it's just sticky to the touch, we're now going to paint on our top coat. And that for me is going to be white. And I'm painting mine on sort of thick because I'm hoping to get those large crackles. So we'll see. We'll see. The funny thing with crackle paint is every one turns out different, which is kind of interesting actually. Okay, so now I'm just going to dry mine with the hair dryer. So let's go ahead and start that process now. Now that our crackle has dried, you'll see, I think it really turned out nice. Now, it didn't turn out as large as I wanted it to, but that's okay. I think it turned out really great. But I want to age mine a little bit around the edges, and I'm going to take some of this Waverly wax, antique wax, and I'm just going to run it on the edges of my sign. And then we have an aged board. But what we're going to do now is we're going to add some embellishments. And I'm going to be adding this cute Merry Christmas sign to mine. And also we're going to be adding some of this beautiful ribbon. So let's go ahead and add our decal now. And now we're just going to attach our decal. And I'm going to put mine right here in the corner, right like this, making sure it's straight. All right, and then we have our Merry Christmas in the corner of our wood piece. And my goal here is to wrap this piece like a present. So to do that, I'm going to take some of this beautiful plaid. It's like a wool kind of ribbon. And I'm going to take it and glue it around the board. Uh-oh, my dog's talking. Miss River, are you talking? What are you saying? What you up to, Mom? We're just going to take a piece. We're going to cut it. And we are going to glue it to the back side of our wood piece, making sure it's straight. Now we have both those glued down. Look at how cute it's looking already. Next, we're going to take the same ribbon and we are going to bring it across like this. Then we'll have a piece that looks like this. And for our next step, I'm going to make actually, you know what? For our next step, I want to do a double layer ribbon, and I'm going to take some of this red velvet and I'm going to make a double layer. And I probably should have done that before I did this, but that's okay. We're going to do it anyway, because I almost forgot. So we're just going to take a strip of our velvet ribbon and we're going to glue it down on top of our whiter wool kind of ribbon. So, all right, that is looking very pretty. And then I'm just going to make a bow, a fluffy bow for the bow on the package. Alright, so now we have what looks like this. I'm not done because I want to add a little bit of greenery right here to the bow part. And I'm going to use, remember when we bought the pick from Walmart with the little pine cones on it? That's the one I'm going to be using. So we're just going to pull a few off of here. Alright, now we have our greenery glued down. I need to cover the little zip tie, and to do that, I'm going to be using one of these silver jingle bells. What? What, baby? What, little Baba? Oh, you want your treats? Can you see up? Can you? Oh, do you see the girl? Say hey, hey everybody! Come on, can you get your feet up here? Come on, up, up! Put your feet up there. Put your feet up. Say yeah, I am. There I am. There I am. Yes, come baby, come, up. Ah, this is my baby. This is baby. Anyway, I think it turned out great. All right, now we're moving on to our next DIY. For this DIY, we're going to be using a piece of 1x10 that's been cut down to 24 inches. Now, to start, I'm going to measure in from the edge. I want to measure in 3 inches. Once we have our measurements made, 3 inches from each end, we're going to take some painter's tape and we're going to put it on this side of our lines. And you'll just make a straight line with your tape. And we'll do that on both ends. All right, I'm going to be using this walnut. It's gel stain from Hobby Lobby in the color walnut. And I'm just going to stain both of my ends. Now that we have our stain on, we're going to peel our tape. And we're going to take the same piece of tape and we're going to put it on the inside of our stain. Like that. Because we want to tape off this part here. So. And then you can paint this any color you want, but I'm going to be painting mine in a black. All right, and as you're painting, you can also paint the back side if you like, but what I'm going to do is at the end, when I'm done with this, I'm going to just stain the back side, so we're not going to worry about the back side right now. So now that we have that done, we're going to let this dry, and then we'll remove our tape, and we'll continue on with our project. Now that my black has dried, I want to distress my black area, but to do that without disrupting my stained area, I'm going to tape it off again with a fresh piece of tape. All right, so now we have it taped off like that. And now I'm just going to take some sandpaper and just distress my black area. But I'm going to take this outside and do it just because it's going to be messy, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so now we have it distressed and we cleaned off our dust. Now we are going to decorate it with some handmade stencils. Now I cut these out on my Silhouette machine and if you have a Cricut you can do the same on some contact paper, just like some shelf liner paper. And I also cut out some different little pine boughs, so we'll see how that goes. All right, so now we have our 2 stencils with our transfer tape. Put this one over here. And we are going to just stencil our greenery onto our tray. And I'm going to start over here. All right, for now we're going to start with these pine boughs, and I'm going to stencil those green. And then once we have our greenery done, we're going to add our ornaments. And then once we have our stencils on, we're just going to stencil them in different colors. And then we have our ornaments stenciled on to our wood piece. But we're not done. We want to add strings to our ornaments. Hangers basically for our ornaments. And to do that, I'm going to just take this white paint pen and we're just going to draw them down. But I think I'm going to do this with a ruler so I don't get too off base here. And I think what I'm going to do too is I'm going to take my same white paint pen and I'm going to fill in, and I'm going to just make some little stars. So let's go ahead and do that and see what it looks like. How cute do those little stars look? Perfect. And then I think actually what I might do, I might fill in a few of these details as well. So let's go ahead and do that too. All right, so now I have all the detail added to my ornaments with my paint pen. I added some little snow flurries, some stars, and I also added some detail to my ornaments. And I took the liberty of staining the backside while we were doing that. So now I'm going to take mine outside and I'm going to spray it with this Rust-Oleum clear coat enamel in a matte finish, and I'm going to give it 3 good coats on both sides. So let's go ahead and do that now. Now that we're back inside from spraying our wood piece down, you can see when I took it out to spray it, I decided that I wanted to add a little bit of the gold, antique gold rub and buff, and I added it to the top of the 2 red ornaments before I sprayed it, and then I added the little marks on the other ornaments, and I think it really is pretty. I love that added gold, and it's also going to match our next step, and that step is going to be adding, because you can use this as just a sign and decoration, and you could also just paint it all black and make the whole thing ornaments and pine boughs. That would be gorgeous too. But what I'm going to do with mine is I'm turning mine into a serving tray. And if any of you have been around long, you know I love trays. I love making trays. I love coming up with ideas for trays. I absolutely love serving trays. And so I'm going to be adding some handles. Now, I got these handles at Home Depot. Where's my packaging? And they are actually door pulls. And you can find them in the section where all the gate pulls are. They have like the little gate locks and all that stuff. And so you can find them there. Also, what I'm going to do is, since you can leave them black and just put them on like that. That would be so cute too. But what I thought, and I came up with this idea with my husband, is I wanted to add a bit of the gold rub and buff to my handles. Now, I was thinking, hey, let's do the whole handle. But then I had an idea. And what that idea is, we're going to take our rub and buff. We're going to add a little bit of the rub and buff to our rag here. And we're going to add it just to the base of our handle. And I think that looks so good. So now we're going to take and buff it, the buffy part of rub and buff, which I always forget to do. I forget the buffy part of the rub and buff. And that's what makes it so beautiful, is the buffing part. And see, then you have your handle with that little distinction, and that just makes it so custom in my opinion. So let's go ahead and finish that up, adding the rub and buff to the bases of our handles. And then we're just going to attach, and look at how that coordinates with that tray now with the gold on top of the ornaments. I think it looks so stunning. So now we're just going to attach our handles, and for that I'm going to need my ruler. We're just going to make sure they're even, and then once we have our handles on, we're left with this beautiful holiday serving tray. Alright, my crafty friends, for this DIY, we're going to be using a piece of scrap wood. Now, this is just an old fence picket, and you can make it as long or as short as you like. We're going to be using some of those, remember those beaded gift tags we purchased, and maybe, probably quite a while ago now. It's been like a couple weeks ago. And we're going to be using some of this beautiful fabric, and this is just scraps from the other projects I've done with it. And if you want to see those, I'll link those videos down below because they're so cute. I love this fabric so much. We're going to need some paint, red and white paint. We're going to need this, which is actually a piece of cardboard, but it was in a package that my husband got, so I saved it. But you can also purchase this in a scrapbook paper form at Hobby Lobby, or you could tear the top off of a variegated box. You could do that too. But I'm going to be using this piece and then also some raffia. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to set this aside. I'm getting messages from my mother. They're getting a bunch of snow where they live, and it's, you know, exciting for me to see, so she sends me photos of it all the time. Anyway, okay, so now we're moving on, and we're going to draw a candy cane out of our cardboard. So let's go ahead and do that now, and I'm wondering, it probably would be easier to do it on the back. Yeah, let's do it on the back. And then we'll just flip it over because we want the front side, the variegated side. So, yeah, so let's go ahead and do that now. And I want to put my candy cane on my board. So let's just measure how big we want our candy cane. So this is going to be my board size. So now I have a little template to draw within. And we're just going to freelance here. So wish me luck. Oh gosh, yeah, I needed luck. Because my candy cane's too fat. Alright, now we got it slimmed down. I mean, I'm not opposed to a fat candy cane. I love candy canes, but... And then this needs to come down a little bit more and rounded like a candy cane does. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. Because we just want it to be a rustic candy cane. We're not going for perfection. But if you want perfection, then you just go right ahead and do it perfectly. Alright, so now we'll do that. Then we're going to cut it out. Now I'm wondering which would be the best way to cut it out. Would it be scissors? Probably, maybe. Well, let's try it. Yeah, that's a cute little candy cane. Do you think it needs to come down a little more, maybe? Like this, like a little more hook in my candy cane. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Let me hold that. Yeah, maybe somewhere in between. We'll see what happens when we start cutting. So let me just cut this out first. So, all right, so let's round this a little bit more, and we'll turn it over. And it looks super, super cute. Look at it. How cute is that little candy cane? I think it is adorable. Yes. So we're going to take our candy cane now and we're going to paint it. We're going to paint it in candy cane stripes, red and the white and red. So let's go ahead and do that. And to do that, I think I'm going to use a brush because I think that will be easier. So let me get a brush real quick. All right, so now we're just going to paint our candy cane. And I think I'm going to start with the white. Yeah, because the white, it will be easier to cover than with the red, than the white with the red. Cover the red with the white. I don't even know what I'm saying. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to paint the white. And you can paint it any way you want. You can make them go horizontal. You can make them go kind of at an angle, which I'm going to try an angle, but we'll see. Maybe I should just do them straight across because let's not get complicated, right? Because as we get up to the top, it's going to become more complicated, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. We will figure this out. Okay, so now we're going to leave some for the red. We make our little line there. And then we'll do our diagonal. Now we have our white painted, we're going to paint our red. Alright, so now we have our candy cane painted. We're going to set it aside here. We're going to bring back in our board. Now, I want my board to be distressed a little bit, so I think I was going to try and do a crackle finish on it, but what I think I'm going to do is do a dry brush in a couple different colors. And I'm going to do white first, and then I'm going to follow up with a brown. So now we're going to put our paint down. and use the white, and we're going to dry brush. And I love to dry brush with the, what do they call these? Just the simple, what do they call these? I forget what they call them anyway. Just the simple brush. You can buy these very inexpensively at any hardware store too. So we're just going to take and do a little bit of the white dry brushing. Oh, look at how pretty that is already. It's already so pretty. I love working with this old wood. It's so fun. And the fences down here are constantly being replaced. So there's like a never-ending supply in my neighborhood. Because the weather down here in South Florida is kind of harsh on wood, even if it's treated wood. It's very harsh on it. So I'm constantly dumpster diving, so to speak, for the wood. Alright, so now we have that. And I might use a little more white there, but first let's fill in with the brown and see where we're at. We're getting a bunch of cold fronts down here now, and woo, it's bringing all the allergens down from up north. It's about to get me. About to get me. All right, so now this looks so good and rustic. I love it. It looks so good. Doesn't that look good? Now that we have it painted, we're going to set it aside to dry with our candy cane. And we're now going to cut up our fabric. And I'm going to cut mine into strips because I'm going to use it as a ribbon on my project, like a rag ribbon or whatever they call it. All right, so now I have those cut. And I'm just going to make a rag ribbon. And I think what I'm going to do is I really would like to add some burlap ribbon, but I really don't know if I have any. Let me just double check. One moment. All right, so I found some burlap in my stash here. This is pretty burlap, actually. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into strips as well because that's a little wide. And I want them to be about the same width. So actually, I could probably get one. Yeah, I could probably get 3 out of this. So that's good. So we'll go ahead and do that. We want to be... All right, so now we have our fabric cut and our burlap cut. And to do this messy bow, I'm just going to take and do like crisscross applesauce. And we'll see what happens here. And I think I'll just alternate. Well, actually, let me do this. Let me just alternate between this and this. And I could also add some raffia too. If I'm being honest, that would be kind of fun, wouldn't it? Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to add some raffia. Add a little bit of raffia to it. Put it in there like this, crisscross. I'll put some more over it like that. We have some more burlap. We'll put that over. That like that. Some more fabric. Crisscross, crisscross. And then maybe I'll finish that up in a minute here, but now we're going to take a zip tie, and hopefully this works out. I mean, usually they do. They look very pretty. We're going to take our, actually, you know what? Let's take some ribbon or some raffia. We'll do that because the zip tie is going to show through. So we're going to take some raffia and we're going to tie it with that. So let's do that. That way it'll make a little rustic face to it as well. And you'll put it down like that. You're going to get under your bow, all your layers, and you're going to flip it over. Then you're going to take your raffia and tie it off really tight. we'll tie it in another knot. This is a thick bow. Hopefully I didn't make it too big for my candy cane. I probably did. I'll probably have to make another one because it's going to be huge. Huge, huge, huge. Then you have this cute little bow. Well, it's not so little. It might overwhelm my candy cane, actually. Well, maybe not. We might have to trim it up, but that's okay. But anyways, then you have this cute little rustic bow. And I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to trim mine up now. I'm roughing mine up, but you don't have to do that. But I think it looks so cute. Oh, I love it. Don't you love this little bow? I do. I love how rustic it is. That's what I want. I want it to be rustic and look like it's been through the mill. Perfect. Don't you think that's perfect? So let me get this cleaned up and we'll continue on with our project. All right, so now we have all of our components. And I want to use one of these little gift tags, the wooden gift tags, but it looks very new, so I want to age it a little bit. And I'm just going to take my brush and we're just going to paint it, probably with some stain. Yeah, let's go ahead and use this little bit of stain we have here. Oh boy. Watch out. I just poured stain all over everything. Oh, we're just going to use it and move on, right? Just moving on with our lives here. All right. And I think I'm going to use the beads. I'm going to leave those just natural. And then we have our cute little tag. Yeah, I'm going to leave those natural because I think they're so pretty. And we'll clean this mess up here in just a minute, because that's quite a mess we have. I always forget that this wax is so liquidy. And I get a little crazy with it. But we'll put that over. Like it never happened, right? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take and glue down our candy cane. And I'm going to glue mine, I think, like this. Or should I? Yeah, let's glue it like that. So let's take our hot glue. This I thought I was going to put on the tag, but I'm not really sure. So we'll set that. We'll put a pin in that for now. And we're going to put some hot glue on the back of our candy cane, making sure to get up to the edge because you want that to stay down at the edge there, and then just take it up around the center, and we're just going to attach it down like that. Right in the middle is where I want mine to be, and then we'll just press it down. Okay, so we had our white candy cane and my battery died. I didn't realize it had died on me. Had decided it was overworking. So I just changed out my battery and we're back up and running. But in the meantime, I had added some of this, oof, gross, I've got it everywhere. But I added some of this Waverly wax with a brush, with this brush, and I just distressed and made my white not so stark. So it made it more of like an antique kind of rustic white. And I think that's going to go along perfectly with our rustic plaid bow. And we're going to attach our bow just like that on our candy cane. And then we're going to actually add our tag. So I'm wondering, should I add my tag? Probably add my tag first to the back of my bow. So let's go ahead and do that now. And we'll add our tag. And that's going to be so cute, our little tag. These little tags are so adorable. I didn't know what I was going to do with them when I got them. I mean, I kind of had ideas, but they were too cute to pass up. Too cute. All right, and before we glue our tag on, I just remembered I wanted to add some greenery. So I'm going to take some more of that greenery stem that we got at Walmart back during our shopping haul. And I'm going to add a little bit of greenery. Now, I don't think I need this much, so we're going to cut it down to like there. That'll be perfect. And we're going to attach it to the back side of our bow, but we're going to use it like that. And we'll bring it up to the front, but we're going to attach it on the opposite side that we did our tag. Okay, now that we have that on, we have what looks like this, which I think is so cute. And we're just gonna glue it onto our candy cane. All right, so now this is what we have. Doesn't it look adorable? Oh my goodness. I love this one so much. And you could write something on here. I was thinking about writing something. Do you remember that gold paint pen we bought for our last projects that I didn't end up using? The metallic gold, the apple barrel, which I didn't even know they made paint pens. So I thought, let's give it a whirl. I wanted to see how the gold was, and it's actually very, very pretty. Look at how pretty that gold is. So let's go ahead and write something. We'll write Be Merry. And then you have your little Be Merry tag. I love how this turned out. I think it is so pretty for such simple supplies. What do you guys think? Would you recreate this?